I am sharing with you today a very, very powerful tool, powerful formula that if you apply it, will absolutely boost your fertility, help your mindset, and get you off that emotional roller coaster that you're experiencing month to month. It's easy, it's simple, and it's effective. So let's jump into this week's episode about the 3-month formula to help improve your fertility. Hey friend, welcome to the Fruitful Fertility Podcast. Do you want to better understand your body so you can get pregnant naturally? Do you find yourself up late at night Googling how to ovulate on your own or natural fertility tips? Do you feel lost on what your next step should be? Hey, I'm Tori, a registered nurse, Christian fertility coach, and your new TTC BFF. When I started my fertility practice, I realized how much the modern medical system was missing when it came to supporting women trying to get pregnant. I knew God had called me to this space to bridge that gap and provide more natural fertility support and education. With time and a little trial and error, I found a foundational way to assess infertility cases and get better results. In this podcast, you will finally understand how your body and fertility work, support to stay off that emotional roller coaster, and a proven strategy to improve ovulation and increase your fertility naturally. If you're ready to get started, drop those ovulation sticks and grab a pen because, girl, you look fertile to me. Hello, my fertile friends. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We are approaching the Halloween season, and so I have a little treat for you. Not a trick, but a treat. And that is my free Improve Your Fertility Masterclass. So there is a link below in the show notes. I want you to grab that. This is about a 30-minute video where I'm going into what is causing your fertility struggles, what you can focus on, and my 4-step framework for improving your fertility naturally. I'm laying it all out for you. So grab that link. Again, only 30 minutes of your time, and I think you'll be really blessed by that information. It'll give you a little direction and foundation to focus on. And I want you to have that. So grab that in the show notes below. But today we're going to talk a little bit about what I call my 3-month formula. If you are on your fertility journey, you're struggling to get pregnant, and you're starting to lose steam, right? Like you have been trying month after month, you're not pregnant, you're losing hope, feeling frustrated, weary, all the things. And even when I first started this podcast over a year ago, I thought, that's really something I want to focus on is not just the science of like, how can we improve fertility, but like, how can we lessen this emotional burden, this emotional struggle and make it easier? And one thing that I have found that I think is helpful, I know it's helpful for me and I hope it's helpful for you, is to use the 3-month formula to guide our thoughts and our plans. So I'm going to dive into that a little bit, but first, let's talk about why you're tired and losing hope, why the month-to-month approach does not work. Number 1, you're expecting results too quickly. So while I do have stories of success of clients getting pregnant within a month of working with me, and I love that, it's phenomenal, those are what we call the unicorn stories, meaning that's not what happens for everyone. I wish it was. I wish that I could work with people and you were pregnant in a month and it was that easy. Sometimes it is, but for the majority of people, it's going to take longer than that. It's going to take somewhere between 3 to 6 months because when we approach our fertility from a natural standpoint, it takes a little bit more time for things to kick into gear because our body is figuring it out. We're giving it clues, we're leading it, and it's like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing, and it just takes a little bit longer to see results. Just like anything else in life, if you start a new skincare routine, it's going to take about 3 months for you to see results. If you're on a weight loss journey, it's going to take, you could probably lose weight in a month, but to really notice it in the mirror would take you 3 months. And so when we expect results immediately, we get a little frustrated because we're like, oh, well, that didn't work. And it's not that it didn't work. It's just that our expectations were not realistic. So when we approach our fertility from a month-to-month perspective, sometimes we're setting ourselves up for failure. And number 2 kind of goes along with that you're not changing what you're doing. So typically what I'm seeing happen is you go to the doctor, you get your labs, maybe your hormones are not optimal, maybe your progesterone's low, you're not sure if you're ovulating, and so the next month you just do exactly what you did the month before. You don't necessarily change your exercise routine, you don't change the way you eat, Maybe you change your supplements because that's what we call low-hanging fruit. It's really easy, and you get that little dopamine hit when you order a supplement and you think it's going to change everything. And so maybe you change your supplements, but really all you're focusing on is your cycle charting to see if you're ovulating, but you're not doing anything to actually change the fact of whether you're ovulating or not. And I say that with love. I promise I'm not saying that to be mean or to be like, you're not doing anything, because I promise I know you are. You're doing so much and you're trying so hard, and I don't want to take away from that. I just want you to realize that we have to change the month-to-month mindset, and we have to change what we're doing, but we're only going to change it every 3 months. And again, I'll touch on that in just a minute, but my mother says this to me all the time. I don't know if your moms do as well, if this is a boomer thing, but they like to quote that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if you have tried IUI 4 times and it hasn't worked, it's time to do something else. Let's pick a different plan. If you have done blood work 4 times and it's not changing, it's time to focus on what we can do instead of taking more blood work. A lot of time what you don't need is more testing. We just need more action. And it's hard to do when you're feeling tired and discouraged and hopeless. Like, you kind of think, well, nothing's going to work, so it doesn't matter what I do. But again, this is where the 3-month plan is going to come into action. The third point on why you're tired and losing hope is what we call throwing spaghetti at the wall. So maybe you went to the doctor, you were told it's unexplained infertility, or, it's PCOS. And so you're getting on Google, you're going down all the rabbit holes, you're finding what Susie did on TikTok, and you're just following her advice, hoping that it works for you, not knowing if it actually pertains to you. And so that means it's kind of just trial and error, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're not getting results, it can be something that's holding you back. That's why you want someone to walk with you professionally that has, and this doesn't have to be me. I would love for it to be me. I truly would. It's an honor, but it does. I just want you to know that if you work with someone who's a professional and has a proven system, you don't have to keep guessing what you should be doing. You can use their proven system to improve your fertility. So to recap that really quick, the reason you're feeling like you're losing hope and you're losing steam is because we're expecting results too quickly, not changing what we're doing, or we're throwing spaghetti at the wall hoping it sticks, meaning we're just Googling and guessing. So here's what I want you to do instead. I want you to take a 3-month approach to anything you do. And what this means is you are going to buckle down, come up with a plan, and you're going to stick to that plan for 3 months before you do anything else. And what that does is it gives us time to collect data. So if you have testing and you're like, okay, I just got my test results back, or I just did, 3 months of cycle charting. Here's what my charts look like. I have data in front of me. And then I want you to step away from the numbers, from the testing, whatever you're doing, and just do the work. Do the 3-month plan, whatever it is you've picked that you're sticking to, whether that's incorporating walking 4 times a week, if that's incorporating going gluten-free, whatever you're picking. And I want you to stick to it for 3 months, because now that you have some data to start with, you have your plan, you're going to stick to it for 3 months, and that's going to help us see results. If you do it for 3 weeks and then you fall off the wagon, we're not going to get the results we want. We're going to go back to that kind of that loop of really hopeful and really sad, really hopeful and really sad. But when we know, okay, I got to stick to it for 3 months, it kind of gives you this cushion of like, I'm going to give this time to work. So maybe this month I'm not pregnant, but I'm only 1 month into my 3-month plan, and my plan's going to pay off. Again, we have that positive mindset of like, what I'm doing is working. I'm supporting my body. I'm nourishing my body, and I'm going to do this for 3 months. So it extends that hope roller coaster, that emotional roller coaster. So I'm not saying that we're not going to be disappointed, because that's just life, but it kind of keeps us from experiencing it so often, so to speak, because really your 3-month plan could have you pregnant in 3 months. And if you're not pregnant at the end of 3 months, we swap our mind to think, okay, what is my next 3-month plan? This didn't work. This is just information. I'm not broken. That just wasn't it. Or what can I add to it? Okay, I've been walking for 3 months. I'm not pregnant. What can I add to my walking routine to boost my fertility even more? And again, this gets us off the month to month emotional roller coaster, and it keeps us rooted in a plan. So when we set our goal, we set it for 3 months, pick our plan, set our goal, then we avoid distractions. So when you don't have a plan, you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping month to month, we get what is called shiny object syndrome. So we're scrolling Instagram, and again, we saw that so-and-so was taking colostrum and it worked for her, so we start taking colostrum. And then we order our colostrum and we're really excited about it. And at the same time, we're still distracted, and we see that Tori over here has the Boost Your Fertility Blueprint, and that sounds really great. But you just order the colostrum, so you don't have the money for the course, or you buy the course, but then you don't actually do it because you're living month to month. That's kind of the picture I'm trying to paint for you. It also leads to doom scrolling, right? Can you empathize? Can you recognize that in yourself where you doom scroll? You scroll through the internet, any kind of social media, you're seeing pregnancy announcements, you're seeing distractions of what you could be trying, and you feel overwhelmed. There's too many options. You don't know what's the best plan for you. You're seeing other people get pregnant and you're like, this is never going to happen for me. And then you go to bed feeling defeated because you've been scrolling through so much information and not knowing what you should be focusing on, right? We've all been there. I have been there myself, I promise. So when we apply the 3-month rule, it keeps us from following that shiny object and going down distraction paths. Like, okay, well, my plan is that I am going to do XYZ. And even though I see this on Instagram that Susie's doing this, I've got a plan and I'm going to stick to it for 3 months. I can write this down and put it in my back pocket for after 3 months if I'm not pregnant. But I'm not going to do that right now because I have a plan. And when you have a plan, you feel empowered. It helps you stay motivated. And that's why I think working in 3-month stints is really powerful for your mindset and for your body. So here's what we're going to do. Starting today, we're at the end of the month, or we're coming up on the end of the month. So November 1st is coming up soon. If you're like me and you love a Monday start or you love a beginning of the month, we're going to plan this week and next what our 3-month plan is. And I want you to actually write it down. I don't know the statistic, but there's some statistic about how it's more likely to happen if you write it down. I want you to have a detailed plan. Maybe you pick 3 things you're going to focus on. Maybe you pick 1 thing, whatever you are mentally ready for. Maybe you're ready for a big change. Maybe you're ready for a little change. But I want you to pick that plan and stay on that plan. Now, here's some things to consider. While you're on that plan, do you want to chart? Do you want to take a break from charting and kind of put your head down and do the work and then check your charting when you come out? You know how if you've ever tried to lose weight, if you weigh yourself every day, it's kind of disheartening. But if you weigh yourself like every week or every other week, you see bigger changes. It's kind of like that. Maybe you've been cycle charting and you've got your cycle, you've got 3 months of previous cycle charting, and maybe you take a break for 3 months. You don't have to, but it's just something that you could look forward to after 3 months. Look at your cycle charting and compare it to the other 3 months and look at the difference. You can also consider testing versus not testing. So maybe for the 3 months while you're working your action plan, you don't do any testing because you're expecting to see the results at the end of 3 months. And so maybe on that 3rd month, you take a pregnancy test, but month 1 and 2, again, you're just doing your work, you're focusing, and you're expecting results on months 3 or 4. That is totally up to you. That's not something you have to do. It's just something I want you to consider. But again, November 1st, we're starting something, okay? We're going to do it for November, December, and January. If you want a plan to follow, if you want a checklist to follow for the next 3 months while you put your head down, do the work, make the changes, I've got it for you inside Boost Your Fertility Bootcamp. This is a course that you can go through in about a month, but it gives you an action plan to follow for 3 months. And I love for people to do it for 3 months because at the end of those 3 months, you're going to see changes to your body. You'll see changes to your cycle, to your mood, possibly your skin, possibly your weight, and very possibly your fertility and your chance of getting pregnant. So if you are like, I don't know what my plan should be, I don't know what I need to focus on, come enroll and boost your fertility blueprint and join us, and let's do it together. The holiday season may be a time where you need more accountability. You need people doing it with you. And we have a private community of women going through the program. So you can have support. You can ask questions. You have access to me inside that group where I can answer your questions and keep you motivated. And you can stick to this plan for 3 months and carry you into the new year. Really want to give you that plan. I really want you to feel empowered and on track and motivated by it. And most importantly, I want to see you pregnant. So let's do this together. You can use the link in the show notes to learn more about Boost Your Fertility Blueprint. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If this episode touched your heart or taught you something, I'd be honored if you'd share it with a friend who could use the information too. And if you want to be the real MVP, then would you also take 30 seconds to tap those 5 stars at the bottom and leave a written review telling me what you're loving? It lights me up to know this podcast is really helping you. Don't forget, you're super cute and super fertile, so meet me back here next week and let's keep chatting and learning together.